Hello and welcome to the No Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me, co-host Finn McDonald. Today, we are back with, this baseball sport. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. They're saying that it was Deion Sanders' second sport, the first obviously being his well-known football career. I'm pretty sure he just had a daughter get drafted into the MLB or something, or like the WNBA. For those who don't know, that was satirical. Anyway, we're back. It's been a couple weeks, couple episodes, in the middle of college finals and the NBA playoffs, and it's hard to record during the weekdays, which is when Finn and I usually record. Here we are now, though. We're back. Um, you know, some things never change. Brett Beatty's in the minor leagues now. Finn, where do we want to start with today? Um,
What about Pete Alonso just getting out of his mind?
Yeah, so we can start with some of the leaders hitting wise so far. Um, I mean, have you heard of this Aaron Judge guy, Finn?
Yeah, it's not like he didn't win the AL MVP last year.
Yeah, so Aaron Judge has been like kind of like Aaron Judge, um, just been like ridiculous. Uh, been no nothing short of what Aaron Judge has always been over these past couple of seasons. He's barely a sub 1200 OPS. I mean, he's really slacking at this point. Um, Overall, though, right behind him in OPS leaders, Pete Alonso, um, Corbin Carroll, Fernando Tatis, Marcell Ozuna, and some Cedric Mullins, Kyle Tucker, Jonathan Aranda, and Jorge Polanco rounds out the top 10. Finn, are there any things here that you want to just really jump towards already?
Wow, the Polanco one is kind of surprising considering where he's playing.
Yeah, so he's playing in Seattle. He is not qualified, I believe. I don't think he should be qualified. He's only played 20 games, so he might not actually be qualified. But yeah, he currently rocks a 238 OPS plus and has an 1145 OPS. He's hit 7 home runs already this season. He hit 16 a year ago. Yeah, Finn, like this is looking like a solid pickup in Jorge Polanco for Seattle after he was really wanted by nobody this past offseason. He's already played around the diamond. He's played third, first, and second, and of course he's DH'd as well. Hey, Seattle really needed a bat. I think. Obviously, the struggles that they have had to hit in their home ballpark have been very much told by you. They are currently sitting first place in the American League West. Fan, I guess, do you want to shift to that American League West, because currently we're seeing Seattle and Houston towards the top of it, with Texas and the Athletics also a half game over 500. Finn,
And
how do we?
feels dead last.
Yes, the Angels, like always, are dead last. How do we is there any big surprises here in the American League West for you?
I'll have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure we've actually had a healthy Mike Trout.
Um,
I don't think Mike Trout has been doing. I'm pretty sure he's been on the field.
yeah, so Mike Trout is currently healthy, and he's hit 9 home runs so far to start the season.
Bit
The
rough.
thing is, it's even with the 9 home runs, it's a league average slash line, so maybe a little bit unfortunate there. If I had to look
I
into the
have
numbers, um, K rates are a little high from where he's normally been. He's still hitting the ball hard. I'm sure if I go look at the baseball savant numbers, it'll spit out like, hey, he should be doing a little bit better than he has. But Mike Trout has been impressive so far in maintaining the power department. Yeah, his X batting average is 252 right now. It's rocking at a 270, or at a 170.
He has
So
a 731 OPS.
yeah, and like his X slug is a 594 versus right now it's sitting at a 470. Probably due for some positive regression for Mike Trout. But he's looked impressive. He's looked healthy. Um, he's been on the field, and I think that's big for Mike Trout, Finn, because if he stays healthy, he's 13 home runs away from number 400 of his career, and I mean that's just awesome, you know. um, could be a couple seasons away from 2,000 career hits as well. Um, I mean Finn? I ranked him towards the top of my top 100 list. I obviously thought that there was a possibility of him staying healthy. Finn, do you think that this is a real possibility, or do you think he's going to hit the IL here in a couple of months?
I think it's a real possibility. I think we could see 120 out of him. I still think there will be a few small IL stints, but nothing like missing 80% of the season.
Yeah, I mean I don't missing 80% of the season is not something you can count on happening every season. So, maybe I was taking, a egregious bet in saying Mike Trout was still going to be top 20 player in the league, but I believe it. Mike Trout will hopefully hit more than 10 home runs this season like he did last year. He's already at 9. So, healthy Mike Trout is huge, Finn. We need to talk about somebody else who currently has the major league lead in home runs. Do you know who that is, Finn?
Suarez.
Yeah, Eugenio Suarez. Going into a game a couple days ago, his OPS plus was like a 95, and now it's a 137. He had a 4 home run game. Feels like it happens once every 4 to 5 years. Somebody pops the 4 home run game. Um, yeah, big Gino Suarez fan. I mean, he hasn't necessarily hit for average so far to start the season. He's never really done that, but I did like Eugenio Suarez going into the season. The defense has looked kind of rough to start the year, but the power is there. More so just in general with Arizona. They have um, had a very good offense once again to start the season, at least with having a couple of towards the top and qualified hitters to start the season. Corbin Carroll, I mentioned before, Pavin Smith was also on that list. And yeah, do we want to say anything on Suarez or the Diamondbacks in general, Finn?
I actually put Suarez about MLB The Show lineup because he got supercharged for hitting 4 homers in one game.
Yeah, I mean, we typically like to stray away from the MLB The Show analysis, but he did hit 4 home runs in one game, right? It's kind of a crazy thing to have happen. Yeah, Diamondbacks currently have in their starting lineup 2 players with a below average OPS. One of them is Gabby Moreno, who I would expect to turn that around, and the other one is Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who also has a track record of at least being a solid hitter. Um, and that is currently with Tim Tawa in the starting lineup. I think Ketel Marte's, Ketel Marte's only played 8 games to start the season. And we know how good Ketel Marte is. So, that being said, Finn, Arizona still only sits at 15 and 13. The pitching staff hasn't been as kind to them as the hitting has. If we go down, here's their pitching staff. Brandon Pfaadt has a sub-3 ERA. Corbin Burns has a 4 flat. Kelly and Erod have a 4.4, and then Zach Gallen has a 5.5. It's been slightly underwhelming. I think the the pitching staff. We talked about Justin Martinez a couple episodes ago and how awesome he's been. Throws 100 miles per hour, and then they have enough relievers. Although there's a couple of really high ERAs in there. Like Joe Mantiply's really struggled to start the season. Um, Ryan Nelson has gotten quite unlucky, striking out 12 per 9, but still has a 7.6 ERA, and he's not walking guys either. So he's just kind of gotten killed by batted balls. Arizona looking like a fun offense. Let's hope that the pitching becomes something. I think there is time for them, considering Marte's been out. Gallen has been terrible. I think they'll turn it around. What do you think, Finn?
I expect better out of Zach Gallen. And I kind of also
100%.
expect a bit better out of Corbin Burns.
Yeah, I would generally expect a little bit better than a 4 flat. Hasn't been a terrible outcome for them, to be honest, but I agree, Finn. They've gotten some really good production out of their lineup. Uh, yeah, Finn, do you got anything else on big Arizona?
No, just want to see it when Ketel Marte gets back and is consistently playing.
Okay, there is actually one thing we have to talk about with Arizona because Finn, Corbin Carroll's been kind of awesome. Like, we talked about Eugenio Suarez having the home run lead currently. Corbin Carroll had it before him. Um, he's listed on base or on everything as 5'10", 165. He's got to be bigger than that, right? Dude is rocking a hard hit rate of almost 60% right now. Which last season it was around 41%. His bat speed is way up. I believe, right? Yeah, his bat speed's a tick up. Everything just across the board looks better for Corbin Carroll, and a year ago he was walking a little bit more. Maybe this is the MVP leap from Corbin Carroll that many people wanted to see, and if it is, um, I don't remember where I ranked Corbin Carroll, but I would assume I would have to move him up from where I ranked him a year or going into the season. Um, yeah, Finn, do you got anything um on Corbin Carroll?
I ranked him out of my top 50. He's making me look silly right now.
Yeah, I think he's making you look really silly. Yeah, I ranked him at 41. I didn't quite see Corbin Carroll being one of the best power hitters in the game. I didn't quite see that. That wasn't on my bingo card. So I don't think anyone actually had that on their bingo card. So I don't think you can hate me for that one. Um, let's see. What else do we want to move forward to, Finn? You got anything that you want to go to first?
Justin Verlander. Looking like it might be time to hang up the cleats.
Yeah. We like to keep it positive over here, but amidst a San Francisco Giants hot start, Justin Verlander's just not looked great. And it's still a 4.11 FIP and a 5 ERA, so it's not even that terrible. But he's just looked old. I think the velo's down. Um, rough start, but I mean, other than that, San Francisco's looked pretty great, Finn. Camilo Duvall with the bounce back. Um, Ryan Walker still looks like Ryan Walker, even if he did have an unfortunate run of, ground ball base hits against him. Anyway, they look about right. The Rogers twin that they did keep, it was the righty. He's also been good. Randy Rodriguez, we talked about a couple weeks ago, has been electric for San Francisco. It just looks like a really good back half of the bullpen. It looks like their starters tread water. Logan Webb has been Logan Webb and potentially an early Cy Young candidate because Logan Webb is now striking out 11 batters per 9, Finn. This is Logan Webb we're talking about. He's striking out 11 per 9. If he does that, he's going to win the Cy Young. And then everybody else just has respectable numbers, I would say. Gives them a chance to win. San Francisco's pitching has been good. Offensively, they're making it work. Tyler Fitzgerald, Matt Chapman, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Yastrzemski are just all getting it done, and Wilmer Flores as well. But the rest of the lineup just hasn't been very great. And Lamont Wade, Bailey, and the $180 million man Adames is kind of struggled. So Finn, how real do we think this San Francisco stuff is? Do we think they are going to legitimately be a team towards the top of the NL West for a good bit of the season?
I don't.
Okay, what about it do you not see as sustaining?
The pitching staff, namely the starting rotation. And I like the lineups of both the Diamondbacks and the Padres better.
So, I mean, the rotation hasn't been that great though, Finn. Like it's been fine, but outside of Logan Webb, everybody's sitting around like a mid threes to fours.
I think a couple of those guys will fall.
I mean, potentially, but like I don't like. Are we gonna really say that Robbie Ray isn't capable of pitching to a 4?
No, but I'm going to say I don't think he's capable of pitching the 33 that he's at.
He's at a 3.7 right now. Are we gonna say that Verlander isn't gonna pitch to a mid 4s?
With how he's been performing, yeah, I'm going to say that.
I mean, he's been performing to a low 4s, Finn. That's the thing.
Doesn't he have a 5.6 right now?
No, he's a 4.9.
Must have had a decent start the last time on, because the last time I checked it was a 5.6.
Yeah, I mean it's not been, typical Justin Verlander, but it's about in line with what he did a year ago, which a year ago wasn't great, but even for context, in 2023, it doesn't look too much different than he did in 2023. Um,
My
and then
main argument is that I like Willie Adames, but you cannot be my entire lineup.
well, the thing is, he hasn't been yet, Finn. He's been terrible to start the year. Like he's been like literally their worst hitter so far, besides Lamont Wade. So like they're getting by currently with Chapman and Jung-Ho Lee and Yastrzemski.
The only one I see really sustaining that is Chet.
I mean, why can't Jung-Ho Lee sustain being a good hitter?
Do you see Yastrzemski sustaining it?
I'm trying to spell his name to pull up his underlining. Um, it's not a Z, it's a S. Yeah, it's an S. Okay. Um, I mean, maybe not to the degree that he has, but do I believe Yastrzemski can be like a 110 WRC plus? Yeah. Like I don't see why that couldn't happen. He's done that over the course of his career pretty much. Um, so I mean, I don't think that he's gonna hold up the 157, but I think he'll hold up a 110, and then you get some little bit better from Willie Adames. Like, hey, this lineup kind of looks all right. Um, I could understand the hesitancy, but I do think I don't think that they're a bad lineup necessarily. Like even if you look at Matt Chapman as well, like his slash line isn't bad. But as of right now, it's like his approach is really carrying him because he walks more than anybody in the league right now, and he's just gotten slightly unlucky on balls in play. Or as of right now, he's just hit a ton of ground balls. So Chapman's still been a productive hitter,
I did
but
say
not every.
the one player out of those three that I picked to sustain it.
Yeah, but I agree, but I'm saying that it could be even better than it's going right now for Chapman, and it's already looking pretty good. I'm basically just trying to play devil's advocate and say, hey, like I don't see why we should be skeptical of what's going on with the Giants because I mean what they've had success with right now is a balanced lineup, a rotation that doesn't appear to have too many holes, and a lights out bullpen. And I don't know if there's anything in there that I can necessarily poke holes at.
Their bullpen is one injury away from problems.
An injury to one of their 4 or 5 really good back end arms.
An injury to either Walker or Duvall.
Well, okay, if you take one of them out there, you still have the other one. You still have Randy Rodriguez, who last time we had talked about him had a negative FIP, and right now he's at a whopping .3. And then you have Tyler Rogers in there, who's also a reliable back end arm, and then you have Hayden Burnsong, who could honestly be in the rotation if they need him to be there. Like their bullpen's been good, Finn.
It's more of I can't consider fourth to be towards the top, and I like the Diamondbacks and the Padres better.
I mean, potentially we can talk about San Diego as well. I guess we're just gonna go over the NL West. San Diego's 2 games behind San Francisco, and Finn, do you know who's been starting at catcher for them?
Not Ethan Salas.
No, it's definitely not Ethan Salas. Martin Maldonado has been their starting catcher. Their infield is Xander Bogaerts, Jose Iglesias, and Manny Machado and Luis Arias. Fernando Tatis has been hitting at an MVP level, and outside of that, it hasn't really been a great lineup. Tyler Wade is their starting center fielder currently, with Merrill being down. But what do we got here, Finn?
Honestly, I just like the names better.
I mean, I do like the names of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis.
I mean, look at the season Iglesias had last year.
It was okay last year.
He had a 3 WAR with an over 800 OPS.
Yeah, and then I agree with that, right? That did 100% happen, but you go there and you look and you're like, oh, well, his actual batting average was a 337, expected of a 285. Doesn't hit the ball hard, doesn't walk. He's a decent defensive player, right? He's a player, but he's not a great one.
Also, Luis Arias wins batting titles. He's not hitting right now like he's gonna win the batting title.
Yeah, not at all. I think with him as well, he's currently, I believe, seen an increase in walk rate year to year. Um, if Baseball Reference would show me yeah, so he's seen an increase in walk rate from 3.5% to 5%, just somewhat notable. I mean, do we want to just go through the Giants versus the Padres lineups?
Sure.
Bailey versus Maldonado, Finn.
I'd take Bailey.
Okay. Wade versus Arise.
I'd take Arias.
Fitzgerald versus Iglesias.
I'd take Fitzgerald.
Take Fitzgerald as well, I think. Adames versus Bogarts.
Donez.
Chapman versus Machado. It's a lot tougher than you.
I need to see Chapman's stats.
Chapman has a OPS plus of 129. Machado's rocking a 113.
I'd take Chapman currently.
Yeah, I think Chapman as well because he's been hitting the ball hard on the ground a lot so far to start the season, and he's still been productive. I think I would as well go with Chapman to produce a little bit more than Machado if I had to pick from now on. Helio Ramos versus Jason Hayward, Finn.
Man. I'd take Hayward.
Yeah, I mean, I could go either way on that one. I don't think it's very decisively though. Jung Ho Lee versus I guess Jackson Merrill, but with the caveat that Jackson Merrill's missing the next 6 weeks.
Merrill.
I think I would still go Merrill, but since he's missing that time, guaranteed, it makes it a lot closer than you would think. And then Tatis, we're obviously saying is going to outproduce Yastrzemski. And then like the DH situation is like Wilmer Flores or Gavin Sheets, and like I don't know. I think I would rather Wilmer Flores. I'm not super standing on that though. Like I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, we just went through the lineup, and like San Francisco's lineup compares pretty well to San Diego.
But now let's go do the rotation in the bullpen.
I mean, we talked about this San Francisco rotation, Finn. Top of the San Francisco bullpen and how great that's been. San Diego also has their really strong bullpen with guys like Peralta, Matsui, Morihone, Estrada, Jason Adam, and Robert Suarez. They're all awesome, right? So I honestly feel like the bullpens I could go either way with. And then you go to the rotation, and who's the best pitcher in both of these rotations, Finn? Who would you say the best pitcher in these rotations is?
Logan Webb currently.
I would also go with Logan Webb. I think the next two guys, potentially the next three guys, are all in San Diego with Cease, King, and Pivetta. I could probably get argued into that. But then after that, like Vasquez and Kyle Hart are definitely like the last two guys I would take out of either of these rotations. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think San Francisco could be a candidate to trade for an extra starter here. Maybe what if they had Blake Snell in this rotation, Finn? What do we think about that?
That's definitely a front office miss right there. Should have at least made a competitive offer.
Yeah, what if they had Blake Snell here? Would have been great, man. I think I would give the slight pitching edge to San Diego, but I think San Francisco, like as it stands currently, has what is a better lineup. And with San Diego missing so much time with Jackson Merrill, makes it tough. So
Currently, I think the lineups are about even. Because San Diego is the better pitching. I take San Diego.
we'll see. We'll see. I don't really know how I feel about San Francisco right now. I think that since they're off to a good start, it puts them in a position to where they've got a little bit of room for error now. Later down the line, maybe they make a move for a starter. I do think you do need to solidify that rotation, even if I do think the depth is solid there.
Would potentially change my analysis.
I agree. But I do think that as it stands right now, I think San Francisco's lineup will outproduce San Diego's, just because I think San Diego's bottom of their lineup is kind of terrible. There's been contracts signed. I don't know if we've talked about any of them yet. Come the end of the off season, end of spring training, there's just a ton of contracts signed. And maybe we talked about. Did we talk about them like 2 weeks ago, Finn?
I don't think we did.
We might
Derek
have talked about.
Flatty.
We might have talked about the Crochet and Campbell ones, but I know we didn't talk about Brent Fott. We didn't talk about Cal Raleigh. We didn't talk about the Caltel Marte extension.
We didn't talk about Vladdy because it wasn't done when we recorded last.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Vladdy extension, which I think is interesting. And there's one other big one in there that we didn't talk about, but yeah, I mean, do we want to speak a little bit about this Vladdy extension, Finn? Because we talked about it the other day off the episode, and we think that this could potentially be something that maybe teams need to take note of going forward.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I guess it's don't rely on being able to go to the open market to replace a guy.
Go further on that.
Like, I mean, for the Yankees in the off season to replace Goldschmidt, it's gonna be Naylor or bust.
Potentially, so your alternative is saying what?
A replacement or a trade.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Rice has been off to a great start so far this year. I've been seeing a lot of Ben Rice propaganda. He's hit 6 home runs to start the year. He's got a 911 OPS. And then you at one point you go and look at the batted ball stuff, and you're like, oh my God, is that Yordan Alvarez? Like, what the hell? Um, but we'll see if that keeps up. But the Vladdy takeaway for me, Finn, is like how they got the last $50 million into the deal. There was like an $140 million signing bonus given to Vladdy on signing. And rather than making that salary, Toronto makes it a signing bonus because they're like, yeah, we have the money, we'll just give it to you. And they give it. How signing bonuses work is they go to the estate of the player, which for Vladdy resides in Florida. So he doesn't have to pay state income tax. He also doesn't have to pay federal income tax in Canada. Saves him close to like $50 million. Ridiculous.
And
Just
the Blue Jays don't have to pay the luxury tax.
they pay a reduced luxury tax on that money, pretty much. To put it in simplest form, maybe, just maybe, Finn, there are ways that other teams can help spend with the Dodgers, because not only are the Dodgers spending more money than everybody, right? Because that's what everybody complains about, but the Dodgers are doing it and taking advantage of these little things that like most teams just kind of aren't doing, right? Put the signing bonus towards Will Smith, takes $80 million away from the luxury tax. It just makes sense. And I'm glad that we finally see another team doing it on a large scale contract such as Vladdy's. Were there any of those other contracts you wanted to talk about, Finn?
Honestly, I did want to talk about the Crochet one. Just
Yeah.
I want to find it, but the amount, because that's a pretty big name.
Yeah, it's like a huge number. To see like it was like 36 a year, unless I am pulling numbers out of my ass that aren't true. Um Not Garrett Cooper, Garrett Crochet. 170 million over 6 years. That to me sounds like just under 29 a year. Ton of money. Garrett Crochet has pitched like that money so far to start the year. I think I brought it up on a NBA episode that I had purchased a ton of his cards in MLB The Show. Yeah, I'm hoping that'll pay off for me.
Yeah, the opt-out in this one is really weird. It's after 2030.
Yeah, and what's weird about it besides it being in 2030?
It's after 5 out of the 6 years of the contract are up.
Yeah, and he can opt into the last 2 years at once. Makes sense. It's weird. Yeah. The Ketel Marte one was also kind of interesting. Um, do this one? Okay. So Marte already had a really favorable contract. Yeah, basically he wasn't due for an extension for a couple of years. Um, and then he signed an what'd you say?
And then he got one.
Yeah, and then he signed an extension that um in 2022 he signed a 5-year $75 million contract. He would now be in the fourth year of that extension. What ended up happening is it increased his potential earning for 25 and 26, um, and then gave an additional 12 million, 20 million, 22, 22, and then a $11.5 million player option in 2031. Ketel Marte, like, really good player, and honestly, I think that this extension is really a good like deal for Arizona. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you have to say, Finn?
Honestly, I don't get how you lose that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he has a no trade clause and a player option, but I just I don't I Finn, this is like a great deal in my opinion. What do you have to say outside of that?
Honestly, don't disagree.
Yeah, way to go, Arizona. You lock the guy up, who will probably, we talked about active Hall of Famers and that Ketel Marte was on a pace, not necessarily like the pace you would like to see, but like he's not pacing terribly. And hey, if he does, it'll be in a Diamondbacks uniform. So, yeah. Where else do we want to go to with this episode today, Finn?
You don't think it'll be in a Mariners uniform?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll be there. I think Michael King will be in a Marlins uniform. Uh,
You played in the Marlins?
no, but he did get traded by the Marlins, so before he got there. Um, yeah, Finn, we got to talk about Colorado is currently 4-24.
Yeah, they are on pace to be the worst team ever.
Yeah, like they've been terrible. Um,
Do we think that Bud Black is still gonna have a job if they only win 25 games?
what do you think?
I don't know. They're Colorado. They stink anyway.
I mean, probably not, but I mean, just looking at them in the standings, when they're already 14 and a half back of the West.
Yeah.
It's 30 games in and they're 14 and a half back. Like, how was that possible? Um, but geez, Colorado's terrible. I think we'll see. I mean, I don't even know what they have to potentially sell off at the deadline. Like,
They fed.
Like everybody sucked. Like McMahon has been terrible and is making real money, so I don't know if they'll be able to trade him away. I guess Mickey Moniak, like,
Chris Bryant.
no.
Uh,
I doubt they'll want to trade Ryan Feltner because he's actually kind of looked pretty good, um, and he's like super controllable for them. So I doubt they'll even consider that.
mm,
I don't think. I mean, maybe they have a couple relievers. You trade Jimmy Herget and Jake Bird, I guess, because they're 30 years old. Yeah, I just don't know what you do with Colorado fan. They're just not any good. Not any good.
they can't
Um,
win. They can't develop. They can't do anything.
it's really hard to develop there, though, Finn. That's the big thing. We've talked about it, especially on the pitching side of things. It's
I
like
mean, I'm
almost impossible.
but hitting, that's one of the better hitting ballparks in baseball. They can't develop hitters.
Well, it's really hard to develop hitters there because you gotta limit yourselves in what type of players they can get because they can't take a Framil Reyes and put him in left field. They can't do that. Otherwise, it'll be embarrassing defensively. It'll be embarrassing. Um, so they're limited in that aspect, and then like they can't really have guys who don't who strike out a ton because then you're not taking advantage of Coors Field, and I do think that's kind of way too many of their hitters in their lineup. Um, like Ezekiel Tovar is awesome, but he strikes out a ton. Michael Toglia leads the league in home runs right now. Ryan McMahon is not far behind him. Brenton Doyle cut down on the K rate last year and saw a decent increase in offensive production. Uh, you know, still strikes out 25% of the time, right? And like not a super high contact guy. They really need, I don't know, maybe they need Jung Ho Lee. Maybe they do.
Yeah, but first they would have to spend money in there, the Colorado Rockies.
Yep. So not looking great. Finn, I guess we'll just quickly go over who sits atop of every division. In the East, we have both New York teams atop of their divisions. In the Central, we have Detroit and Chicago atop of the NL and AL Central. And atop of the AL West is Seattle, and the NL West, of course, is the Los Angeles Dodgers, tied with the San Francisco Giants. Um, I guess right now we'll talk. What team do we think we see sustaining this current placement, and which of these teams do you think might change with that current placement?
I'm gonna go with two West teams: the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks.
Wait, what?
I think the
Diamondbacks.
Dodgers will sustain, and I think the Diamondbacks will sustain.
Okay, I don't think you quite understood my question, but you did
That's the
understand the.
not sustain is the Giants.
Okay, yeah, you could say the Giants since they are technically a division leader. I was saying more so I expect the Dodgers to sustain their division lead because they're the Dodgers. And I think if any of the division leaders right now that I would poke a hole at, I think potentially Seattle because I mean we saw it the last couple seasons. Like they still can't hit, right? I mean, they've been off to a decent start with Polanco being awesome, and Cal Raleigh leads the league in home runs. He's tied with 10, and they've gotten some decent results. Ben Williamson is up in the big leagues playing third base for them. It's been nice. Um, I still don't know about Seattle, Finn. Potentially there is they've maybe figured some things out with guys like J.P. Crawford and uh, Ben Williamson, like I said, but I still don't know if I see the offense there. They've had an explosive start from Jorge Polanco. I don't know if that's going to happen again. And even as it currently stands, they're 16-12 and only a half game ahead of Houston. So I just don't know if this start has been strong enough for me to say, yeah, that's going to sustain. And like, of course, I don't think their pitching's been quite as good as it's been, uh, in the past. Like Luis Castillo currently has a 7.71, but I don't think that's going to keep up. But the rest of their pitching has been pretty up to par outside of that. What do you have to say on the Seattle part, Finn?
They're squandering the best pitching staff in baseball.
Yeah, it feels like every couple of years there's a new small market team that has the best pitching staff in baseball, and then doesn't do anything with the offense. Before it was Miami when they had Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Luzardo was there, and uh, there was a ton of other guys there that I'm blanking on. And then now it's Seattle with Miller, Gilbert, Castillo, Kirby, and Wu as well as awesome. And then it's going to be Pittsburgh in a couple of years when Skeens is up, Bubba Chandler's up, Braxton Ashcraft will be there. Thomas Harrington is going to be good, and then they even have a couple other guys too. Um, the cycle will continue. Do you agree, Finn?
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree that it's going to be Pittsburgh. Mainly because those guys will still be controllable. And I don't see the Mariners paying up by pitchers.
Yeah, another contender too for it is in the Central as well. Like Cincinnati kind of has a top end farm of Chase Burns, Chase Petty, and Rhett Lauder that's like really impressive. It's just I think they already have some hitter core up in the big leagues that'll be really good by the time those guys get to the majors. So I don't know if Cincinnati will necessarily waste it as much as I think Pittsburgh will because their position prospects are okay, but nothing compared to the hitter prospect or the pitcher prospects they have. It Bob Nutting does not want to spend money.
Yeah, because he's in a job.
Yeah. Other than that, Finn, do you have any other takeaways that you want to bring up?
No, let's beat the Diamondbacks.
Does Aaron Judge win another MVP here, Finn, and hit 60 home runs?
Yes and no. I think he's going to finish slightly under 60 again. But I think he'll win the MVP.
Will he have over a 200 OPS plus?
Yes.
I think so as well. Well, what is he at right now? Because he's been awesome. He's got like a 1200 OPS, and he's hitting 405. He's already accumulated a 2B WAR. Yeah, he's at a 241 right now, Finn.
How bad would your defense have to be to have that hitting numbers and somehow have a negative WAR?
Finn, it's impossible. I don't think it's possible. Yeah, Aaron Judge will win the MVP, guys. I think it will happen. Yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Finally, we've got another MLB episode out. Yeah, I think we were really just waiting on Shedeur Sanders to get drafted. Otherwise, we couldn't really, in good faith, put out an episode. Other news with the NFL drafts: Dodgers farmhand DJ Ugalele has signed an NFL contract with the Chargers, so he will not be fulfilling his pitching career with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, that's the final note for this episode. We will see you guys next week.